Hi guys. So I'm super bummed. I just recorded a video and I realized like halfway through the audio went out, and it's because I didn't know you're supposed to charge these things. So I was like charging the other part of it and I never knew. So hopefully the audio's okay on this, and the show must go on. Honestly, like the lighting's all crappy now because it started raining and I'm kind of bummed, but whatever, it's fine. I really liked the video and I liked, what was coming through. And so I want to get that information out there before it like disappears out of my head. So the video's grainy, sorry. It's just, I don't know. So essentially I decided to make this video because I was scrolling on Instagram and I had like a little epiphany, and I love a good epiphany. And essentially, we might hear the same thing 100 times, but in a different way, and it's just like that one time that it's said and you get it and you're like, oh. And so essentially what was happening is I was scrolling on Instagram and it like hit me like this app is fighting for your programming, among other things, right? Like there's a million different social media apps. There's mainstream media, there's the news, there's politics, there's movies, there's shows, there's songs, there's video games. It's everywhere, right? All these things that can influence us. And we love to be entertained. We love to consume content. And even somebody like me who's pretty mindful of I try really hard to only give my attention to like more positive, engage with like positive content on Instagram. I really only use Instagram and YouTube. And I try to limit my consumption. I know how addicting TikTok can be, so I never downloaded it. And even somebody like me who knows I shouldn't engage with negative content, it's still really hard. I do engage in negative content. And I think that's because I was programmed to engage with negative content. Because, when we look at how society is set up and all of this, there's a lot of negative. And like I can even think back to like writing, like in class, like you're in English class and you have to write a short story. Well, they teach you, there's a beginning, middle, and end, and somewhere in there needs to be conflict and resolution. And even that in itself is a program. I understand it's the education system, but it's still programming us for us to feel relief after chaos. So when you look at like all these like garbage shows, reality TV shows, movies, that's the plot. There's chaos and then resolution, hopefully. Or, like on some of those like dating shows, it's just all chaos. There's no resolution. It's just, you don't even get the relief at the end of like, it's just pure chaos. And if you like look at it kind of like nature versus nurture, I can remember being little, 5, 6, 7. I really liked to draw. I didn't like to write. I wasn't like a storyteller, but like I liked to draw stories, I guess, snippets in time of whatever was going on in my brain. So I'd always draw like a family of animals. It would be like a family of kittens, right? And there'd be like a dad and a mom and all the babies. And I would always draw a fireplace, and I would always draw like everybody was engaged. And I can remember like if one kitten was off over here like playing by itself with like a ball of string, I made sure that either the mom or the dad's cat tail looped around and like encircled the kitten, because even the thought of the kitten being off on its own and not feeling like warmth and love and like connection to the family, like kind of gave me anxiety as a kid, which is fucking crazy to think about, that's how my brain worked. And I would just reiterate that like snapshot over and over. I would draw like puppies, like family of dogs, horses. Sometimes I would even draw myself into the photo, and I'm like there with all the animals, and all their needs are met. They're all happy. They're all safe. They're all warm. I feel like that's what the fireplace was there for. Like they knew they were safe and cozy. Nobody was hungry. Nobody was lonely. Nobody, whatever. That's nature. I feel like I would have never drawn in conflict. I would have never incorporated like, oh, we need to resolve this problem. And I understand like children are the closest thing to, we just came from like heaven or eternal bliss or whatever you want to call it. So we are going to be like the most idealistic. Children are going to be like the most pure. And I get it. Like we came to Earth to experience contrast. And so I understand. So all those programs that we come across that kind of teach us conflict and the duality, black, white, good, bad, hot, cold, whatever the duality is. It's really easy to demonize those those things, those entities, or those whatever you want to call it, that are pushing negative programming, right? So even like me talking about engaging in negative content on a social media app. Well, you can look at it like the content creator has an incentive to get people to engage with them. And negative content does get a lot of engagement. I mean, what's that thing, the kid, they call it rage bait. It's literally exactly what I'm talking about. So you have these content creators who obviously are gonna have incentive to get people to engage. And then when you peel back the next layer, you have the actual apps and the people that created the apps who have incentive to have people on their platforms. And then you could take it even another step back and look at, I won't say like the names of the family, because there's no way to say the names of the families without looking like a conspiracy theorist, but there are people who benefit from the negativity of the world, we'll call it. And when we look at us and like where we put our focus, all we are is we're energy, right? We're our soul, our minds, our consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And where we put that energy is important. There is power behind it. It's energy and focus is a currency. That's why they would say you need to pay attention, because where you put your attention, where you invest your attention will grow. So it's an energetic currency, your focus, your attention. So these power forces, or whatever you want to call it, will benefit from us putting our energy and focus on something negative, because that focus will grow, and essentially, without sounding really sinister, like, though our focus feeds that power force, that those what do you want to call it, those groups of people that have an invested interest in our focus and our attention, in our, they want our attention. So not only are these things like social media or the news media outlets, or networks, TV networks, or music, I don't know what they're called, music production companies or whatever. Not only are they profitable in financially, but they're also highly valuable energetically, because they're fighting for our attention and our focus. And our energy, our focus, our attention, where our thoughts go, where we put our attention, I would say is actually even more powerful and more valuable than the monetary gain that they would get. And so when we look at all these things, and I'll say this too, even though it's easy to villainize somebody over here who is profiting off of people's misery, maybe, or fear mongering, or even just like having negative self-belief about yourself. If you don't think you can amount to anything, you won't. If you don't know your own power, you won't overthrow their power, kind of thing. And I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I think this is just the reality of the world we live in. And it's really easy to villainize them. There's a lot of like corruption in our politics, corruption in Hollywood, corruption and it's not, listen, when we've heard the stories, alleged, there's a list of names that won't be released. And like, yeah, that's bad. If that's true, if what they're saying is happened true, that's bad. And it's very natural for me or you or us to villainize them. They're evil, they're corrupt, they're disgusting, they have no souls. How could they do that? Totally. But I do think they are playing their part in a bigger role, which is, our souls. And I've like mentioned this before, like I love a good NDE, a near-death experience. I love listening to them because it kind of fills in the gaps for a lot of the conversations that I'm having with you guys on these videos. It did like fill in a lot. So, they all speak of like this amazing, blissful, beautiful, loving realm that we're coming from. to come here to Earth to experience Earth. And so if you want to call it heaven, of course, like eternity, like whatever you want to call it is totally fine. And so why would we leave this like blissful heaven-like experience to come to Earth just to have heaven on Earth again? That's kind of bizarre. So in order for us to have this experience on Earth and make it authentic, for one, we had to have the contrast. So good can only be explained as good when you understand evil. Light can only be understood as light when you understand darkness. Black can only be understood as black when there's white, or, you know, whatever. So not only did we have to come here in this realm that gives us both options of good, bad, and everything in between. We'll call it black, white, and then the infinite gray. There's so many options in between. But we also did have to have induced amnesia of where we came from, our power, who we are, remembering, you know, where we came from, what we're capable of, how the system works, how it works. It would be like you playing a video game and like you just like knew all the cheat codes already. It's like not as satisfying. But when you play a video game and then you learn, you're like, oh, like this does this, and then this is how you do this, and oh, okay, like I get it. Like I get what we're doing here. And so now you're having the true gamer experience, right? Because nobody told you had to go and learn it on your own. And you're like, oh, okay, I get this. So when we come to Earth, you know, we're kind of wiped, like our memory of who we really are and whatever is gone. And then we're placed here on Earth, which is its own little realm. And it even, you know, like it says in the Bible, like not only is heaven like a physical place, but it's also like a place that you can reach internally. And so, you know, how I interpret that, or what I've come to realize, is like Earth, God gave us free will. We get to choose, free choice. And I mean, that's like a huge conversation topic in the Bible. Free will, free will, free will. So take the religious aspect out and just take the spiritual concept, free will. You come to Earth and like I said, there's good, bad, and everything in between. And so we are going to now choose what we want to experience. That's crazy. That's wild. And part of that experience is, sorry, I got nosy. Part of that experience is coming without knowing all the rules, without knowing our own power, like whatever, how Earth works, whatever. And we and listen, I'll say this too, like the video game analogy, we are living in a very realistic simulation. I've done videos on this before and I won't go too deep into it. But like we are, how do I say this? We are interpreting everything around us as a solid. And science has shown us that, all the atoms and all these little whatever units, the smallest one I think is an atom right now, that we've discovered, they're 99.99% empty, and they're actually it's just light collapsing and getting, what word do I want to use here? my brain's a little shot. The light is bouncing back into our eyeballs, and we're interpreting it as solid. But the reality is, this is just little light particles collapsing and redirecting a reflection. The word I was looking for was reflection, reflecting back to us, and we're interpreting it all as a solid. And what is happening is based on our programming, our beliefs, our thoughts about the simulation is what is now we have a thing called heart resonance. We have an electromagnetic field around our brain and our heart. And those go out and interact with the world around us. And those interact with those little atoms and light particles, and those collapse based on the information that the electromagnetic field is giving them, and then get pushed back to us, and then we interpret it as a solid. Not only is it not a solid, so for us and our humanness, this all looks so real. It looks so dense. It's such a 3D experience, it's such a real physical experience. And so when we're talking about manifesting things like that, our brains are well, how are we going to get from A to Z? That's crazy, because we are looking at the world it's how are we going to construct a building without tearing the building down and starting from the studs and then reworking it? And that's a very logical way to think how things are created. But not only is nothing actually really a solid around us, but the way that Earth is, we have all these different dimensions, but we also have what string theory has shown us is realities. So you have all these realities, and here's Earth, and there's all these little realities, right? And from every second of every day, we're bouncing in and out of different realities. And I think I have a video on this also, but we're kind of, bing, 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 back and forth through all these different realities based on our thoughts and our coherence and what our electromagnetic field is pushing out. And then, so our solid world around us is collapsing and rebuilding itself every second of every day. And, from one reality to the next, you're not going to see a huge difference. It's not going to be life-changing. But when you think of it 1 degree off, when you choose 1 degree off, over time, you're going to end up way over here instead of right here. So when we choose different realities every day, and that's just based on our thoughts and our assumptions and our programs and our beliefs, we're slipping in and out of different realities every day. Okay. So our reality is collapsing and rebuilding in front of our eyes all the time. So when we think about manifesting something big and crazy, our logical minds want to slow us down. No, that's not possible. Oh, it's possible. And it happens all the time. We're just not catching it with our, human eyes. It's literally just happening all the time around us. Now, because we're thinking the same thoughts every day on repeat, we're pretty much, we're going to not really change which reality version we're getting. We might slip in and out of the same few from day to day. But now if you come in and you completely reconstruct your thoughts, you can completely choose a reality way over here. And when we think about free choice, how I think of it is you have heaven and you have hell. And you have all the realities and options in between. So you have reality, 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 reality. Almost like a bookshelf. You have like all these different books with all these different stories. And how I think of it is like the good, right? Over here, heaven might be all like white. And then you start getting some gradient gray, and then it gets a little darker until you come into the black. So we're free to pick up any version that we want to experience at any time. And I'll get more into that. But when we came down to earth, we kind of consented to having this obstacles in front of us. So you have all these, things that we can get mad at. We can villainize politics, religion, the education system, media, social media, the news media, Hollywood media, whatever, celebrities, whatever. But they're there for our own experience because they are fighting for our programming. They are fighting to win. And it's so funny because we pay these people. We idolize these people. And the reality is we were never meant to idolize anybody. We're all human. That's like a little bit of that's a natural thing. So when you idolize somebody, all your defenses are down. All your critical thinking comes down. And this person could be feeding you just the most heinous of beliefs. Oh, this is what I do. This is what I eat. This is how I behave. This is okay with me. This isn't, I cheat on my husband or my wife, or I have no morals, or I have this, or this, whatever. This is how I get money. And just depraved. And we're like, yeah, give me more. We're shoving it down our throats like popcorn. Because our filters have been lowered because we're idolizing these people that's very unnatural to idolize people. And I'm sure there's good role models out there, but the majority of them are trash. And it's so slight, we don't even realize it's happening. We don't even realize, it's all in this cute, cuddly package. It's all in this, it's all presented to us with, entertainment and beauty and, look at the luxury, or, these people are so, pristine. And you see a lot of, evil shit packaged in pretty packages, especially in movies, and listen to the lyrics of some of your favorite songs. Reality TV, woof, just Jesus. And we eat it up. We're just sluts for drama and chaos. We're just whores for chaos. Sorry if that's graphic, but we are. We're just because it is so slight and it's so sneaky and it's so just ingrained in our culture. But if you go into it with a little bit more of a critical mind, you can see this is gnarly, And I almost can guarantee that if all of our media, movies, shows, reality TV, news, blah, 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 you name it, didn't follow that, how I was talking about, the conflict and resolution pattern that we learned in school when we were learning how to, write short stories or whatever. If it followed everything's wonderful, everything's great, everything's happy, people fall in love, they find their soulmates, they start a business, they're successful, they have good health, they have good relationship, whatever. If that's what we were shown, and there was no conflict resolution, A, I don't think we would be such drama whores and want to consume that. And B, I think our lives would be a lot more calm, happy, blissful. But here's the thing. We could experience that in heaven. What's the point of coming down here? What's the point of having heaven on earth if you could have heaven in heaven? So we need the duality. So don't villainize those people. Do I agree with how some of these celebrities and politicians and powers that be behave? No. It's fucking gross. But, oh, my light went out. Damn it. It's going to keep going out. I don't know what to do. I don't want to stop this video. Let's see if I can fix this. But if we, oh, sorry. And now I lost my train of thought. Oh, I'm so sad. Come on, little buddy. Come on, little buddy. Ooh, yeah. Let's see if I can make this stay up here, though. I'll figure it out. We're gonna make this work. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so humbling. Okay, let's figure it out. Sorry. I just like don't know how to edit, so I can't cut any of this. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna figure this out. Okay, I'm gonna keep talking because I don't wanna lose my train of thought. So, oh, I did it. I think I did it. Did I do it? I don't know. We're gonna improvise. Oh my God, up close and personal, aren't we? I think we're, if you only saw what was behind the camera, it's like my Yeti on a candle with my portable charger, with a light, barely hanging on for life, whatever. We're fine. We're fine. Damn, what was I saying? But anyways, you know, it's easy to want to villainize these people because they're depraved, and they are. But the whole point of coming to Earth is to experience duality, contrast, and free will and choice. So if we didn't have all these obstacles in the, you know, in the form of these depraved people, we would just be experiencing what we already knew in heaven, what I'll call heaven. There's no contrast. We're good, you know, it's all good. So come here, we have the option of light, and we have the option of dark. And the dark is fighting for your program. It's fighting for your attention. It's fighting for your energy. And us hating them is just using our energy in a negative way. You know, all it's doing is feeding the beast. I know that sounds so counterintuitive, like, yeah, we should hate bad people. I don't know, man. I don't think we're supposed to. And that's hard. I think we're supposed to stop paying them with our energy and our attention so that they stop growing. You cut off what you don't like. You stop paying it and investing in it. It'll stop growing. If you stop investing in a, you know, 401k account, it's going to stop growing. So then we pull back our energy from that. We stop letting them program us. And we start putting our attention on the good. We start giving our energy. I mean, love and hate are both energy. Love is just like a higher form of energy. So you can push out hate all you want. You're going to create more hate in your reality. With love, it's a higher form of energy, and you're going to grow the good. You're going to feed the good. So when we think about that, and you know, it is such a good distraction, all the fear and the nastiness. I get it. But we came here to overcome it. We had to have obstacles in order to have free will, in order to have free choice. Sorry, it's raining outside and I want my fuzzy slippers on. So now we have God-given free will and a little bit of amnesia, a lot of amnesia so, we don't know all the cheat codes to life when we come here. We don't know that we're not supposed to engage with all the bullshit. And so now we're on our path and we're on our track. And, it's really easy to be lazy and apathetic and let all of those different programs program us. And the irony of it all is not only do we like pay with our attention, but we also pay with our money. We pay for, our cable and our TV and our phones and our internet and our whatever. And we're paying them to program us, which they're like, sure, yeah, of course they want that. They want your money and your attention. But that's the greatest irony of all is we can program ourselves for free. It reminds me like 100 years ago, like if you would have asked them, not 100 years ago, 50 years ago, if you would have said to somebody, oh yeah, we sell water in the future. We bottle it and we sell it. And it's one of the highest profit margins in grocery stores is water. Bottled water is one of the highest, if not the highest. People will be like, what? Why? That's so ridiculous. It's a free commodity outside. It's a free resource outside. And we're over here paying for it. And it's way worse quality than if we were to go and acquire it on our own. It's very similar to that, where we are paying other people to program us and it's horrible quality. When we can go out and program ourselves for free, we walk into the store and we buy crappy, all the minerals are taken out, it's put in plastic containers, and I think the profit, it's like 300% profit, I don't even know. And we're like, take my money. Yeah, thank you. Oh, here's my shitty water. When nature gives it to us for free, the best quality. And I get it, there's pollution. Okay, whatever. Put it through a filtration system. But like, come on. So they're fighting for your attention. They're fighting to program you. You have free will. You have free choice. Program yourself. And when I say program, I just mean, what do I mean? Because you'll hear people talk about law of assumption and all this. An assumption, you can't just wake up and say, I assume I'm a millionaire. Because you don't actually believe that. You have adopted a program that you might think other people can be millionaires, but you cannot. And that's okay. If you're 30 years old, you have been programmed for 30 years to have a shitty program. And it's not going to take 30 years to undo it. It's going to take, they say it's like 21 days. I've seen evidence of a new program within 3 days. Now, that doesn't mean that I've adopted fully, that I've reprogrammed my subconscious fully. That just means I'm on my way to. And whatever avenue, whatever you choose is fine. People love, visualizing, affirming, scripting, whatever. Whatever avenue, you do it. But, you know, I think sometimes in like the, you know, the law of assumption community or whatever, it's like, well, I assume everybody loves me. No, you don't, because that would show up. So now you have your program interacting with the simulation. The simulation is getting that information, collapsing and pushing back what your program is telling it to. So whatever you're experiencing, that's your program. And I get it. There's going to be a, you know, once you start cleaning up your programs, yeah, you're going to see the old programs, you know, and that's okay. You know, you're going to see the old programs, and don't give up hope. That's fine. Because reality is, none of this is actually really real. It's all a simulation anyways. So don't get disheartened. Don't get discouraged. Just keep, I would say like 30 days. Just until you believe it in your core and it's not even a question, you know, keep going, essentially. And here's the thing with programs. You can go to the store and you can buy any program that you want for your computer. You can buy like Windows 95, or you can buy, I don't know, Adobe. I don't know. I'm not a tech person. But your brain is a computer and you have free will. And you can choose any program you want. For some reason, our logical brains tell us, well, if we choose the I'm a millionaire program versus like I make $100,000 a year, this is easier. The $100,000 a year is easier. The computer doesn't care what program you program it with. It doesn't matter. If you can desire something, you can program that. And it's just a program that we believe that we can't. Or we think, this is another kind of like shitty thing. We think that we can only do what we've seen done before us. Right? So like, I don't know any trillionaires. But that doesn't mean that it's not an option. So if you don't know how to get to your desired program, that doesn't matter. Your logical brain's going to be like, no, how do we get from A to Z? Doesn't matter. Let the program do its thing. So just because you've never seen it done before, you don't know any millionaires, you don't know any billionaires, you don't know any trillionaires, it doesn't mean that you can't. So if you can desire something, even if nobody's ever done it before, I can't think of anything like that, but just hypothetical. Don't let your logical brain hold you back. You pick your program. I would pick the best one. I would pick the most desired one, because either way, your brain's going to fight against it, because your old programs are going to fight against it for the first X amount of whatever. We'll call it 21 days. You're good. The time's going to pass anyways. You're going to have to fight your old programming anyways. You're going to have to reprogram anyways. Might as well be the dopest thing you can think of. So if I say I have $20 million in my bank, it's not any harder to say that than it is I have $100,000 in my bank. Just say I have $20 million in your bank. You don't have to believe it. That's the whole point. You don't. Until you do. But look at other people. You don't think you can ever make $1 million because you don't believe it. But the guy over there that's a millionaire believed it, and so he did. So it's not off limits. It's just not in your program. The program doesn't care what you choose. You can choose any program. You're not going to believe it at the beginning either way, so pick the most outlandish one. and stop consuming garbage content and garbage media. They want your attention. They want to program you. It's beneficial for them. Stop, reprogram yourself until it becomes a belief in your subconscious. And now your subconscious, just like I was talking about before, that electromagnetic field that is getting pushed out from your brain and from your heart. So there is an emotional component to it. I'm just talking about the logical component of it, because this way you don't have to believe, like you don't have to have like the emotion behind it. You know, you can create through emotion. You can attract through emotion. I think I did a video on this, and I was talking about like how love manifests. Creating from a space of love versus like hate is just better, faster, easier. That's like the only way to really create long-lasting things. Whatever. This is a more logical, you know, we have 2 electromagnetic that I know of. So now you have your, I say this subconscious because I'm like, here's your conscious brain, here's your subconscious. I don't know, whatever. That's how I think of it. You have your subconscious, and that's running the program 90% of the day. They say we think like 90,000 thoughts in a day, and that just keeps getting, every day we just keep repeating it. Well, those thoughts are picking your reality. And so even though you are maybe switching from a handful of realities in any given day, any given hour, you might, here's your same few that you're like hopping from based on your thoughts. You have to really override that subconscious and have a drastic change in thoughts if you want to come out of these few realities that you are participating in every day and really what they would call quantum jump, whatever, it doesn't matter what you call it, to something completely new, completely different. And listen, our brain craves familiar. So it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like a lie. It's going to feel like you're gaslighting yourself. It's going to feel funny. But feelings aren't truth. Feelings aren't real. The only thing that's real is what you believe. If you believe something is what it is, that's what's going to get pushed back to you. So choose your programming. Stop letting other people program you. Do it yourself. And we came here to have the conscious choice to pick whatever one you want. So pick heaven on earth. Pick which reality you want to be a part of. Program yourself to believe that that's an option, because it is. And, just be diligent in that. And it does take, it's not hard, but it takes, what's the word? It's a discipline. But the time's gonna pass anyways. You're gonna have 90,000 thoughts in a day anyways. Might as well be intentional with it and start having a different experience. And I think that's everything that I wanted to say. It's your choice. It's just an illusion placed here by the obstacles on earth to make you think that you can't create anything, any experience that you want. Everything's an option. It's not about like hard work, luck, determination, whatever. Because you've seen other people acquire crazy shit that didn't work hard, didn't come from money, had adversity, whatever. You just chose the programming that it's not available for you. Every single thing, when people talk about string theory, this is what I think of it. Every single option, every single reality is in front of you. And I imagine all these little strings from different realities, from good all the way to bad. So maybe there's, 5,000 million strings in front of me. And those strings are always available to me at any given moment of any given day, of any whatever. And when I choose to be a part of, let's call like a a good reality, whatever that is. Like, I'm a millionaire. I choose that string and I pull it, and maybe nothing really changes. But I keep choosing, I'm a millionaire, I'm a multimillionaire. So I keep choosing that string. And, the next frame comes, or the next page of that book comes, and nothing's really changed. Like, it looks kind of mundane. But if I keep choosing that thought, I'm a millionaire, I'm a multimillionaire. So I keep choosing that string. And I know that's not really what string theory is, but this is how I just envision it. I will look back and see, holy shit, me being a millionaire was always available. I always had that, knew that person, had that connection, had that skill, had that network. I had that whatever that brought me to my desired reality. It was always there. I just wasn't choosing it because I didn't think it was an option. So my brain didn't recognize that path. Your brain is a computer. You just program it to tell you what to do. So when you say, oh yeah, everyone else is a millionaire, not me, your brain's like, oh, everyone else is a millionaire, not you. So even though we still have all the same doorways, we don't recognize them or have the intuition to go down that path. We're going to keep picking these shitty strings and we're just whatever, keeping the same shitty job and the same shitty whatever. All options are always in front of you. And if you look back when you've been manifesting, you're like, because a lot of people will say, oh, well, it would have happened anyways, because it was already lined up. No, you told your brain it was an option, and so it finally highlighted that option for you. Every option was already in front of you. It highlighted that string, you pulled it, you got the next page of that book, whatever, that next frame of the movie, the next whatever. And as long as you didn't waver, which I understand, it's easy to be like, oh, go back to the familiar. Oh no, I'm just gonna always be broke. Well, you're like, oh, we're always gonna be broke. So then you go back to that reality, that story, that page, that movie, that page of that book, that frame of that movie. But if you can stay consistent and you keep pulling that string that takes you to the next page of that book over time, you're like, holy shit, I could have done this years ago. And it wasn't hard, unless you think it is. And you didn't have to, whatever. You didn't have to compromise, unless you think you do. So I always say, all my money comes from the most benevolent, aligned way. Because yeah, if you believe money is evil and you have to compromise your values, that's the string your brain's going to highlight for you to go down that path. You can have anything. You can do anything. You can be anything. You can experience anything. And it can be benevolent and happy and joyous and blissful. Just keep picking that same thought. Keep telling your brain, this is our reality. We're going to pick that storybook. We're going to pick that movie. We're going to pick that whatever. And just don't waver. Even if you don't see anything, doesn't matter. Like I said, this is all a simulation. It doesn't really mean shit anyways, but it's part of the human experience. So don't waver, don't give up. And eventually you will start seeing a whole new version. Because like I said, we love the familiar. So when we're going from reality to reality throughout the day, it's like those same 5 or 10 versions. And then maybe we have a really good day because we had a really good thought. Oh, that was so fun. And then we have our bad days and they say it rains, it pours, so you're over here. But for the most part, you're let's just call it you're in the same 5 to 10 versions of reality that you choose every day. Because we love comfort, we love familiarity, we love predictive programming, we love that. But fuck all that. Choose the coolest, best, most blissful thing. And it'll feel very unnatural. It will feel very weird, feel very uncomfortable. But if you stick with it and you get that program truly downloaded onto your computer, that is your brain, and you let that program run, And then you won't have to use things like visualization or affirming or the conscious part of your brain to get there. When, before something becomes a belief or a program, we have to use our conscious brain, and our conscious brain does not like change, it doesn't like to be different. And so it actually can feel more draining to use our conscious brain. It can actually feel more like it'll burn more calories, which is kind of funny. So just like if you start to waver, just be like, no, like this is my new diet. I'm like burning all these calories because you're using the conscious part of your brain to put a new program in. And then once it's a new program, it's very easy. And that's when you just like live your life in a way that you identify with, you believe. I hope that all makes sense. I hope I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah. So, stop letting people fight for your attention. Stop letting people fight for your programming. Program yourself. God gave you free will. Choose it. Choose exactly what you want, and keep choosing it every day on your path, on your journey, and you can experience heaven on earth or hell. But God gave you free will. So, yeah. I really pray that this makes sense, because it makes perfect sense to me. So, yeah, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. I love hearing from you guys, and it's fun. So, all right. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.